Social commentary here when everybody gets together. So it's like Thomas Wolfe once said, you got to take that first step before you go ahead and make the whole move. Okay. What we do here is we make the first step.
People getting together, having a good time, enjoying themselves, and getting away from everyday problems of life. What do you think it is?
I think it's all about the rhythm and the love. And what you can do with the rhythm.
House culture, to me, is about the music foremost. It's also a gathering of people where financial status, color, race has no bearing on it, the dance floor. It has no bearing on the overall vibe of a club or anything. It's one of the few places in the world where that stuff does not matter. If you want to get down to where the vibe and the music all started, we should go to Chicago.
You got house, which started here in Chicago, which is basically a mid-tempo, funky groove. You got your deep house or garage, which is more soulful, more vocal-oriented. You've got your trance, which is basically ambient dance music. You have your tribal, which basically incorporates African percussion, tribal patterns, similar to a house beat. You have your breakbeat techno, which is basically that. It incorporates instrumental breaks from rap and like funk records. You've got your hardcore techno or gabber house, which is German, which is very fast, the fastest dance music around, sometimes obnoxious. And you have your progressive house, which is pretty new, started off in England, which is basically, it's a little faster than normal house with some slight techno influences. And that would basically cover all the music associated with the rave scene today.
Frankie Knuckles was playing this older music, they would say, if a song like that was played at a party, people would say, oh, that's a house cut, because it was something that he would play at the warehouse, like, say, Lolita Holloway, for one of her songs, her first choice, or something with a Philly sound. They would say, that's a house cut. So this went on for a while, and that term house was out like in 81, like I said, 81, 82. They used to say that's a house cut because it was something that they would play at the warehouse, even once the warehouse closed down. So when I started DJing at this place called the Candy Store in 1984, me and another DJ, we put together a promotion called House Music Only, where we were just playing nothing but old house cuts. And it went over real well. And next thing you know, everybody's in the cities hanging posters saying they're throwing house music night, and everything became house this, house that. And at the same time, a bunch of DJs, including myself and Jamie Principal actually wasn't a DJ, but he was one of the first. I think he probably made the first house record. I remember when I was DJing at the candy store, there was a song called Your Love.
That was like the basis. What I used to do though is, like for the choirs and stuff at the church I would play, there I would bring a mixture of like R&B into gospel music, which was at the time kind of taboo, but they got used to it. So I don't know, it was like I got tired of, I guess with church music it seems like you're restricted. So I started branching out, doing my own thing. And I guess I just evolved into doing like what was, see at that time it wasn't called house music, it wasn't called anything. Everybody was just doing like what we felt.
When this thing first started, like when I first started Metroplex, and because Chicago's like really close to us, and we would drive back and forth to Chicago a lot. And at the time, No UFOs, which was my first release on Metroplex, was like the only domestic record that they played in the mix shows in Chicago, because we didn't have mix shows in Detroit. And that's why I think things kind of started happening in Chicago first before Detroit, because we didn't have any support from radio. We didn't have mix. I mean, they had like 5 mixers on the radio in Chicago. We didn't have anybody. So we would actually drive to Chicago just to hear mix shows and hear the music. And No UFOs was like the only domestic record that was played on the program. I mean, at that time, it wasn't a lot of dance music in America. So, they relied heavily on imports.
The responsibility of a DJ is basically to have a continuous groove going, basically just like one big song. And how they do that is in the mix. Once the mix is completed, you're basically looking through your records to find another record to keep that groove going. And it's good to know your music too, because if you don't know your music, you're either going to bring up the energy level or you're going to drop it. So you want to keep a groove going, you want to keep the energy level at a certain level. Either you want to bring it up or drop it, or you want to keep it at the same level. So what's going through my mind is basically looking for the next record to keep in with that idea.
They entertain people just like a football player entertains people by playing, and they get mega bucks. So a DJ is the same way. We entertain people by playing other people's music as well as your own. And that's the same as, being an athlete or being a television celebrity or something.
I'd like to see people just get off on the music and leave the drugs aside. I've had my experience with them playing around, and Rave is all the drug you need. The music is just incredible. I mean, it gives me the biggest high. I can have a crappy day and get in there and get behind the tables and go off on Rave, and it's the ultimate high. It just gets you going.
I don't know why Ecstasy is really this scene's drug.
Ecstasy is a beautiful thing.
The news media has turned it into a negative thing. There's drugs everywhere. The lawyer down the street, the lawyer you get to get you out of jail or whatever, he does cocaine. Everybody does drugs.
7 deaths within the last several years are attributed to ecstasy or associated with ecstasy.
Meanwhile, in
what
one
about the
night, crack,
250,000
yeah.
deaths a year that are attributed to alcohol, or the 150,000 deaths a year that are attributed to cigarettes? The two biggest killers, man.
And they're legal.
Alcohol kills
And I need
5
a
times
pack
as
of
many people
Newports.
as all illegal drugs combined, but you don't hear about that on the news. You know, but the news comes to a rave, and what do they focus on? Oh yeah, there's drugs. 7 deaths. Damn, 7 deaths, man. More people die a year from falling in that fucking bathtub, man.
It's really amazing to be in a room at a dance event with everybody on ecstasy. I think if everybody tried ecstasy once, with doctor's permission, and if you have any pain problems or anything like that, I'm not saying everybody should go out and do it. I mean, if you have any disorders or anything like that, but I think the world would be a much more beautiful place. And that's part of what's going on right now.
Well, let's call it ecstasy or MDMA. Its formal name is methylene dioxymethamphetamine, which is a mouthful, and that's why it's called MDMA. Who knows where it actually came from the very first time it got into use? The story seems to point to synthetic chemists working in the clandestine industry, and ecstasy appeared and was tried and became popular for a short period of time, more or less 10 years ago. And it was curious because at that time it was not formally listed on the DEA drug enforcement lists of banned and forbidden substances. It was really a technical issue. This was a designer drug prepared by a chemist somewhere, and technically it wasn't on the list. But for all practical purposes, it was very similar in chemistry to drugs that we do know. And so its effects, although different from some others, were of interest to the scientific community. The drug itself is a curious mixture. It's really not a pure psychedelic drug like LSD, which is the classic psychedelic drug. And it's not a pure stimulant like amphetamine. It's a mixture of the two. It has some of the properties of a psychedelic and some of the properties of a stimulant. So as a stimulant, it energizes people. It makes them feel up and ready to go and full of energy. It alters mood. It alters perception. It tends to make people feel closer together and more together and sort of with it. And then its psychedelic properties they alter one's perception of the environment. It heightens sensory awareness. It can make sounds appear different, sometimes distorted in a pleasant way. It makes time blurry. Not quite sure what time it is and where you are at the moment. But these kind of effects last for minutes, hours, and then they pass, and it's over. You don't know where you are with the toxicity. You can take it, and first of all, you usually don't take it multiple days at times in a row because you get tolerant to it and the effects wear off. Moreover, when you take it a lot, you're more at risk, even though you stay at the same dose, you're more at risk to have very unpleasant side effects. And who is going to get those unpleasant side effects? And when they're going to come is really totally unpredictable.
What are some of those side effects?
Well, the worst thing is that you can have an acute, generalized toxic reaction and die.
There seem to be a few things missing, i.e. like alternative health, conscious beverage, selection. Just like the choice was quite minimized to a Coca-Cola, Budweiser kind of, Marlboro diet thing, and it wasn't quite grooving with me. So I thought, hey, wouldn't it be cool, since we're like staying up all night dancing and like really kind of like purifying and getting in touch and having a quite spiritual kind of trip, to have lots of something else going on. So we started to make our cosmo-delicious, fruity, tangy think drinks, and then kind of caught on. That it has many, many, many vitamins and amino acids and minerals and as a base and things like that as a base. And then on top of that, it has some important ingredients to actually help memory, focusing power, and overall like brain functioning in the brain, like brain oxygenators and kind of increasing the blood flow.
Choline stimulates your pituitary gland and helps with the neurotransmitters.
And ginkgo biloba, which is the oldest species of tree known to humankind on this planet. And the leaves are shaped like a brain. And it's actually, you know,
Are they really?
Yes, they are actually. And they
the
Chinese have known for ages that they've been, you know, good for brain stimulation and cerebral functioning. So that was supersonic cybertonic, hence the name supersonic cyber, to do with the mind. Tonic.
Personally, as a DJ, I don't really like nitrous a whole lot because it takes away from my dance floor. People seem to, when there's a tank, it's like a magnet. And I don't know, it's disappointing to me when it hurts the overall energy of the party, but that's the DJ's perspective.
Drugs. There's always the drugs, but not me, of course. But everyone around me is always on drugs. You know, there's the ecstasy, pot, acid.
Have you taken any of those?
Oh no, never.
One thing I want to say to people that want to do drugs, that are going to try, just make sure you know what you're doing if you're even going to do it, and don't do anything in excess like, oh, I want to be better than my friends. I mean, to me, I would say just say no to it, because if you can't come to a rave and have a good time without being on drugs, then like I said, you shouldn't be there, especially at Storm Rave, because that's not why we devised it. We devised it to bring groups of people together that wouldn't hang out together, and they did do that. And then the media wants to come in and say, oh, these kids are all on drugs. Like we said, the drugs are everywhere.
Secrets of the Underground, Linda. Harold, Laura, they are also known as raves.
The future. The future.
Secrets of the Underground clubs.
The future.
They are also called raves.
But what seems to be sophistication is often deception to lead kids into believing it's all on the up and up, often far from the truth.
Rave. A huge party. Go on all hours of the night, sometimes legal, sometimes not.
And to draw even more kids into the rave scene, the marketing of these all-night clubs is getting real sophisticated. Perhaps too much so for many teenagers. One is made to look like one big county party and be an accident of path to self-destruction and death.
As far as my view on the media, the whole fact of the media not being up to date and not being with it as far as covering our culture is why we had to start our magazine. The local news media are pretty much pussies. You know, they are answering basically to their ratings. They're slaves to their ratings, and they can't admit that. And they try to pass off what they offer every night as news when it's basically a half-hour variety show of you know, hopping from a little bit of tragedy, a little bit of love story, a little bit of quirky news, all in a nice neat package for you know, the guy who just got home from work, you know, so he doesn't have to think too much or realize that the world's in such a shambles. And so screw them. You know, what do they have to say is so pointless.
I really would like to thank 48 Hours for putting on that LSD special, because we had a rave the week after, and we got an extra 1,000 people, just curiosity seekers, that probably watched the show because they didn't look like people that normally be at a rave. But that's probably another 1,000 will show up next time. That's another 1,000 will show up next time, dressed in little sockets and baggy clothes.
Yeah, I think that the media, of course, is using sensationalism to try and hype up their stories, make it a little more interesting. You know, shows like 48 Hours are famous for that kind of thing. The first thing they're going to bring to light are the negatives, so that, of course, all the, you know, housewives or whatever, people that are sitting at home are going to be more interested in the story. Because, oh my God, look at this drug use. Look, this is sinful, it's horrible. And but the media never, at least I have never seen a story that's really dealt with the positives of the rave, really what it's all about.
The little bit of press the press that raves did start to get on a national level, and people getting to hear about it in magazines and see it on TV helped in a sense, because all of a sudden people will come and check you out because they've seen it on TV. That helped in a sense, but now it's way past that now. But
I had a friend of mine in Memphis who called me up. This guy's about 40 years old, and he had seen one of the original Inside Edition things on the Raves. And he called me up and says, "Yeah, I just saw this thing." And I thought I was going to have to get real defensive and say, "Well, yeah, but it's really like this." And he goes, "No, you misunderstand. I just want to know where I can find one."
And although signs say no nitrous, the frequent use of this illegal laughing gas has come to characterize the raves.
You take a hit of it, and you suck it in, and it's just like you want the biggest smile in the world. Nitro, anything you need, it's there if you want it.
Kids over there sucking in nitrous oxide tanks and stuff like that. Because, I mean, to me, nitrous oxide was something you put in a car to go faster. And they're like inhaling this stuff. That's pretty bizarre to me when you think about it,
That's the funniest part of it, is that the nitrous is the one thing that we don't encourage, but there are some promoters out there who, a guy comes up to him with a tank and says, "Listen, I'll give you 50% of the profits."
We got these people, these kids that are, they're running around promoting, look what I got. I got 4-color flyer, I got free nitrous, Happy E-Day is the name of my club, or it's exciting, with the big X on it. It's like, what happened to DJs, Doc Martin and everybody. And, this is what we're providing. Great sound, great music, great lights. Instead, we're providing nitrous, or is NO2, however they want to subliminally put it, and ecstasy and acid, and and they're just counting how much money, and then the good promoters won't allow nitrous.
I got started in this scene along with my original partner Randy, because clubs have been going on for a long time in Los Angeles, long before we were ever even going out, but we were just tired of the same old music. It didn't seem like it was progressing, or changing. It was hip hop and 70s and disco or whatever, and it was the same thing over and over again. Obviously, there's new tracks coming out, but it's the same stuff. We're into other things as well as that, and the acid thing was just starting, and the house music and stuff had been going on for a little bit, but it wasn't getting that much notice, and we were really into it. That's what we really liked, and so in a backwards way, we became promoters because no one else was playing that, so we had to promote our own parties to play the music that we wanted, and so we became DJs and promoters at the same time, which is almost a good sense, because to me it gives more credibility to a promoter that's actually a DJ. To me, I'm much more interested in DJing for someone like that, or being involved with someone that's really into the music, because that to me is what it's all about.
Here at A&A Graphics, we're an international design studio. We do high-impact graphics for the progressive dance scene. We have 5 full-time designers that do all of our designs. We do about 40 designs a week for general dance events that happen across the country. The type of applications that we use is centered around all high-impact graphics for 3D modeling and for filters, for textures. We use Stratavision 3D, Infinity 3D, AdDepth, Swivel, Raydream Designer, Photoshop, and Freehand, Illustrator, Quark Express, everything that is necessary to be able to convey that idea that the promoter wants into something that makes it look like their party's going to go off.
What we'll do for a big job is we'll take about 100 boxes, depending on the size of the venue. The whole system consists of speakers, amp racks, processing, and the DJ. The DJ sends us a signal, which we send through the processing. We'll set the amplifiers right at the clip level, set a compression threshold right there, squash the signal, let it run all night long. This system will generate almost 130 dB at the center floor dance point, and will suck up in excess of 300 amps at any given point in the night.
Crank this mother food. Crank this mother DJ.
edge that only kind of a hipster would understand. Not your average Joe.
Crazy kids. You see some of these kids at the race? Who dresses these kids, man? I mean, when we started, they were dressed normal. Now it's like, it's a weirdo contest. Who could be? I got the sock hat that drags 3 blocks with me, you know? It's like, yeah.
This job does get stressy. It is stressful, you know. You finish setting up. It may have taken 2 days to set up, you know. You hopefully finished at 8 o'clock when you're ready to open at 10. Often you're not finished till 9:59, and then you open at 10 and you're sitting there. Okay, it's 10 o'clock. Where are the people?
A lot of people that are still around now were the ones that were, you know, the originators. You know, everyone that you see now, you saw back then. A lot of people that you never saw back then that came in are not around now. It's like, why? You know, the facts are there. They don't know what it's about. People who know that what it's about are still around now because they're in it for one thing. You know, that's to make things happen the right way.
Remember where this came from, why we're doing this, why it started, where it's all at, and don't let all that commercialism and sellout come into it.
It's more than just a party. It takes a lot to establish, you know, the whole feeling and the whole lifestyle. Because rave, after all, is a lifestyle. It's not just a party. You know, rave is a noun, but it's also a verb, and it's also a state of mind.
The music is the essence of it all. It has the ability to break through barriers that were put up for, like, since the birth of these individuals, you know? I've seen mothers and little children and, you know, grandparents and everybody dance together and actually, like, experience something together. It's amazing. And the music, I mean, there's so many different aspects of the music, you know?
House music was just everything. I mean, I remember the parties, staying out until, you know, just going out at 1 o'clock in the morning, getting in trouble for coming at home at 9 o'clock in the morning, because that's like when the energy at a house party is going, you have no sense of time, and the next thing you know, it's like 9 o'clock in the morning, and you feel like a vampire.
And with the major labels, they're really fucked up, because they have like really good house producers remixing every record that comes out. Every record that comes out, they have, you know, Matches at Work, they have David Morales, good house producers do it, but then you don't hear them giving Matches at Work a record deal, you don't hear them giving David Morales a record deal. What they do is they give these whack, you know, they give you a whack track, they pay you a flat fee, like, you know, whatever, 15 grand to fix the fuck up, and then that's it, you know, that's all you ever hear from them. So, you know, it's fucked up. The whole thing is fucked up.
Hopefully one day.
And the record sells, you know, because of the house mixes. All the DJs buy it, and you know, nobody even listens to the whack A side or whatever it is, you know. Everybody buys it for the B side.
No, they complain about it.
Yeah, they complain about it. Oh, you didn't
use the vocal, man.
Yeah.
They go, man, they gotta use that shit anyway.
Of course we didn't use the vocal, man.
It may appear to be a young person's sound, or it may appear that the young people are really into it, but the young people are the ones that buy the records, you know, and they're the ones that party all night long. So, it's just, to me, it looks like something that's here. It's gonna last. Just like people used to talk about rap, and it was only here for a little while, and it's still here.
All right, see, the best thing about this music right here is the DJs that are actually going out to the clubs and spinning the music and really making the scene happen are the same people that are actually making the records. Most of the time, those are the same people that are actually making the music that's being heard. And I think it's really cool that a DJ on a Friday night can go into a club, like myself as a DJ, and spin to the crowd and really, you know, create a whole vibe and push the music. And then on the Saturday afternoon, spend the whole Saturday, Sunday, maybe the whole week, banging out tracks, you know, to play the following weekend, you know, putting the music out, you know. So it's like the whole thing. It's like an inside scene, you know. The DJs are the producers and are the actual talent that are making the music that people are hearing.
Through electronic dance music, you can really understand life and everything. And I know, speaking for myself, it's just like I've been going to clubs for a long time, and just lately, you know, I feel so clued into everything, just with the way this music is like affecting me, you know. And I don't understand necessarily what's going on, but there's something going on, and I agree 100% with them that the rhythms that are in these songs are just reach inside you and grab you and just take you out beyond, like, you know, what drugs can even do, you know.
It communicates in so many different frequencies and so many different forms that no one can really monopolize it, and no one ever will be able to. And as far as I'm concerned, it's just rock and roll still, you know.
I enjoy the psychedelic experience of raves. I enjoy the visual stimulation, the audio stimulation of the sound.
Yeah, we party here pretty much 24 hours a day anyway, so now it's a place to go have a good time. Party till morning, afternoon. The music's really great all night long. It doesn't have to start with any, it just has no confines. That's what it's all about here.
Seeing people, any color, any kind of belief coming together and being under one roof without any violence and going all night long happy and just being together.
The most significant thing is everybody wants to get together. Everybody wants to get together, listen to the music, react off each other, and have a good time. And that's happening all around the planet.
If you were to talk about the force, this is the force. It's the rave scene. It's the power in it of itself.
I guess at night there, I'm just trying to help you guys have a good time, but just remember, you, the raver, are the most important part of the scene. And help it evolve. Take care. Peace.
Well, these beats can literally create hallucinatory and visionary mind change experiences with using electrons. Of course, that excites me, and something I've been waiting for 30 years.